Good morning. It's Andrew Larson's film review channel. I have reviewed 3 movies in my head. Time to share it with you. The movies are Shin Ultraman, Skinamarink, and Shrek 6.3 Puss in Boot Last Wish. The first movie I'll review, Shin Ultraman. I saw this movie like 2 weeks ago, and I'm just reviewing it now. Spoiler free review. Pretty fantastic. This is like Shin Godzilla, which was fantastic too. From the mind of Evangelion creator Hideaki Anno. Cerebral takes on classic tokusatsu. I'm more of a fan of Godzilla than I am this Power Ranger stuff. I've never seen Ultraman, but I know what it is. I'm familiar with the concept. If you've never seen Ultraman before, and you like this crazy crap, you're going to love this movie. If you have seen Ultraman, I have it on good faith that you're going to like this movie quite a bit. Spoiler review. So this movie's all freaking nuts, and it has that kind of Japanese thing where it's like a million pages worth of story crammed down into like a feature-length movie. So like it seems like episodic and repetitive, but at the end you kind of get the big picture and it really clicks. Awesome CGI kaiju action, tokusatsu action. Same kind of thing as Shin Godzilla, CGI. Not a fan of the CGI Godzillas and Ultramans, but it's done well here. Done a lot better than in Godzilla vs. Kong. It's the way the CGI is implemented into the movie. It really has a weight. Next movie I'll be reviewing is Skinamarink. This is a new lo-fi masterpiece from some guy, Kyle Edward Ball, something like that. Shudder exclusive. Spoiler-free review. I like this movie even more than Shin Ultraman. This is another fantastic movie. The whole concept of this movie is that it's like the director's trying to adapt his childhood nightmares into a film, and he's taking like help from all this like nightmare trope lore that he's researched from like subjects that he's gathered, people that he's met on the internet, and he's putting all these nightmare tropes into his own nightmare and creating the ultimate childhood nightmare in his childhood home. It's kind of like an anti-film where like nothing happens whatsoever, and it's pretty freaky. Spoiler review. So yeah, it's like a couple of kids, and they're in a house, and the house is spinning around because of some kind of a demon, and they're watching the TV because they don't want to think about it. And that's the whole movie. And there's like these jump scares, and the jump scares I at first had a problem with, but I thought about it, and I'm like, there are times in my nightmares where I like jump, like my heart like fluctuates real fast, and I think that's what this was going for. I don't think it was trying to be cheap with the jump scares. I think this was a very effective movie. I think I could just put it on, watch it over and over and over and over and over again, and live in that beautiful nightmare, just like I'm doing right now in my own life. Alright, the last movie I'll be reviewing is Shrek 6.3 Puss in Boot Last Wish. Spoiler-free review. This is the most hyped film of all time. Everybody's saying this is an absolute masterpiece, one of the greatest movies ever made. And I'm not quite there, but this is a pretty good movie. It's a fun, swashbuckling cartoon comedy for kids with some weird, problematic jokes about blood coming out of your nose because your brain is injured, or cussing. I'm not an edgelord, so I didn't get it off on those weird jokes. If you get off on those weird jokes, then more power to you. You're probably a furry. I liked this movie quite a bit. I had a lot of fun. There were horrifying moments. There were funny moments. Some of it worked for me. I liked the art style. It was pretty. I like cats. Things I didn't like, it was a little predictable, and it's just a horrible corporate product, and I'm not into the Shrek universe that they're trying to create. A spoiler review. So this movie is about Puss in Boots dying, and he's like running from death, and death is all crazy, and there's other villains too, like John Mulaney as a big tall guy who's fat, and he's some kind of a fairy tale character, Jack Horny, and there's Goldilocks and the Three Bears, and they're like half villains, they're like sympathetic villains that turn good at the end. There's Kitty Softpaws, I don't know who the fuck that is. Where I started to have a problem with this movie was where it got into the drama. Goldilocks, where there's like some predictable drama about her family, and she has to learn the true meaning of family, and her family is the bears. Then there's like some contrived, like a romantic subplot with Kitty Softpaws and Puss in Boots. I didn't want to see any of that. Get that out of my life. I felt used. I felt used, and I felt like I was going to be abused later on. I felt like they were suckering me in, and then later on they're going to be like, here's the Shrek reboot, and I'm not going to like that. And if I do like it, I'm going to hate myself even more. At the end of this movie, there's a scene where Kitty Softpaws and the stupid dog and Puss in Boots get on a boat, and they're like, we're going to go see my friend's Shrek in far, far away land. And it shows that, and that's the end of this fucking movie. And if a movie ends that way, then it's not a masterpiece.